Was fire. Yeah, I took it from, well, I seen a liquidity block from the left on the H4. Well, yeah, wait, futures platforms only hold. That kind of sucks ass. Yeah. All right. So I will be talking about um the trade I took on Nas. It was on a Monday, so it's like beginning of the week. I held it for the entire week. And yeah, pretty much. I mean, there was also other trades on the way down. But yeah, so if you look at Nas, obviously the weekly time frame. Let me actually remove all my drawings. Weekly time frame is all the way at the highs, right? Um if you go down to the daily time frame, Nas came into this whole area, respected this low right here, right? It was a liquidity block, and that's the reason why I got respected, as you can see. But yeah, anyways, the low over here got respected. Price ended up moving higher. You go to the 4-hour time frame, you'll see there was a break of structure right here. Okay, inducing buyers into the market. And then thing is people are trying to join. Minutes. Okay. So after respecting the low, well, first it came into this area, printed this high, came down here, respected that liquidity block, moved higher, had that BOS to the upside, right? Inducing buyers. And then the market pulled back. And because of this right here, where you got the high, low, and then higher, high printed, ended up trapping buyers, and that's the reason why you got this little channel, came into this liquidity block area, and then had to move up again, right? So it just induced a bunch of buyers by taking this out. Okay, you got all that taken out. You got your BOS to the upside. More buyers want to be getting into the market, so easily you could just mark out these lows. So you got this right here. My bad. You got that right there. And then you got these lows over here, right? So you got all these right here, potential targets if you're able to catch the shorts down. But ultimately, understanding that this is where the liquidity was built, right? So the market came into this area, had that BOS to the upside, just engineering liquidity or building that liquidity to the downside. Okay, so after taking out this high, inducing buyers, I did see there is liquidity down below, but I knew that it wasn't gonna come for it right away, right? Because obviously the market needs to engineer liquidity. It also printed this low right here and then had a higher high. So that induced more buyers over here. And then you can see that the market came here, trapped them, and then decided to induce buyers again, right? Because you have to understand in the beginning, this whole low was a liquidity block that reacted from. Okay. Had that move up. So what it did was grab all the liquidity and then move to the upside. So now there's not much liquidity down below. Okay. Market came here, engineered more liquidity. There you go. Had that BOS to the upside. Consider this as the BOS, inducing buyers, and then you got it come all the way to the highs. Just text me, or let me just put it to do not disturb. Okay. So after the BOS to the upside induces buyers, the market comes, traps all the sellers over here. Because you have to understand at each of these highs, right, there's gonna be sellers. Okay, so you got this area, you got these areas, this got respected all the way down. Okay. So after the market took out all the sellers, I honestly, on the 4-hour time frame, seeing this right here, it is very, very cheeky. Like you have to kind of zoom in to see it. But I seen this liquidity block on the 4-hour time frame, and I seen potential reactions from there. right? So I had this marked out. Had a let's turn that blue. Boom. Okay, so if you go to the hourly, I seen this low get respected, right? So there's liquidity here. And then the market moved to the upside. Did it get respected or taken out? I actually got taken out. Okay. So the low got taken out. And then essentially this whole area being the trap of sellers, liquidity block above. I entered over here right at the high and then kept my stops above the H4 liquidity block, which is right here. And then yeah, so my targets were right here. So this was partial area number 1. That's where I partialed first. This was my second partial, and then full TP right here. All right, so that was pretty simple because I just grabbed the liquidity block from the left on the 4-hour time frame. That happened on Monday. And then on Tuesday, I believe Elijah took this short right here. But pretty much the market, after tapping into that liquidity block, it moves to the downside, right? Respects this low right here. So just building that liquidity. Delete the other one. So it builds that liquidity, moves to the upside. If you go on to the 15, you can clearly see that the market respected this area right here. Let me delete my short position right here. Okay. Look how the market comes into this area right here. Respects this high, moves away. You can look at this as your minor BOS to the downside, inducing more sellers. And then finally, you get the trap of sellers. Okay, so the market comes, traps the sellers. I did want price a little bit higher. I'm not gonna lie, I had a liquidity block marked above. But yeah. I had this marked. That right there. Obviously, I didn't really expect to come all the way up there. I was planning on taking a higher time from entry. Unfortunately, it just wicked above here and then sold off. In terms of entries, damn, my bad. In terms of entries, you got this. Okay, so the market comes to this high, okay, respecting structure. And then finally, after taking out the highs, you can see that huge move down, okay? Now, the reason I really liked Elijah's entry was because of this. You got this low right here, and then it pulled back, just creating that structure, right? So just inducing more sellers once this low goes gets taken out, induces those sellers, and then you got the trap, and then obviously it ends up coming for inducement high, and that could have been your entry, right? So let's say entry right here. And then stop loss about there. Right. If you want to be a little extra, you can grab this high as a stop loss. I mean, as the liquidity block. But the safest bet is keeping your stops above this high right here. So yeah, that was the entry on Tuesday. Straight to the lows, partial area right here. And then you can hold the rest towards the lows over here. Wait, sorry. This low. So yeah, you could have taken partials here. You could have taken more partials down here. a little bit more here, and then ultimately the low to the left. So yeah, that was Tuesday. Wednesday, I believe, had this entry right here. Okay, so let's see what Wednesday did. All right, so the move down, pulls back, moves lower, right? Takes this out, and then moves lower. Okay, nothing here. The market comes all the way up here, and then what does it do? Does it respect the high? Yeah, it does. Okay, so what happens? The market comes into this area right here, hasn't moved down. You can see how it first engineered liquidity to the upside. Okay. You got your minor BOS, and then moves lower. BOS. All that does is just engineer sellers, induce sellers, I mean. So sellers are induced at these highs right here, and then obviously engineers liquidity, pulls back. I believe this was during Asia. No, this was London. Yeah. So London had to move down, trap sellers, and then comes for the low. Unfortunately, I don't really see anything clean to take it off of. But yeah, pretty much. London had to move down. Okay. And then you see that the market does this. The move down, and then you can see the market comes here and then just plays around. Okay. So here, what it ends up doing is, let's go to the 1 minute time frame during New York. All right. So what ends up happening is the market comes for this high right here, prints a low, just respects this low the entire time. Respects this low right here. And then, so basically just builds that liquidity below here. Once it gets taken out, the move higher, inducing buyers. Okay. Right there, you got the inducement of buyers. And the market moves lower. BOS to the downside, comes for this inducement low. And that's the reason why it moved to the upside. After that, comes for this high right here. And you got this engineered liquidity to the downside. Okay. Got that liquidity there. Just trap sellers right here. You can also say you got this right here. This part I really liked. If you look at it carefully, let's mark it red. Market comes here, prints is high, right? And then you got your higher low, then you got your higher high, just literally wicks right above here, and then traps buyers right here. But taking out this low induces sellers, right? So you can see market induced sellers at this area right here, and then traps them. So this is a entry I wouldn't mind. Let's go on the 5, see if there's an imbalance there. Yeah, so this entry I wouldn't mind, say from this imbalance right here, and then stops above the high, and then just like that's the thing, you would have to take partials at your structural low. Let's say take a decent amount off, and then you can also target, let's say, the low over here. Take partials here, and obviously it comes here, doesn't take out the high, but at that point I would go break even. So if you were in this, probably get stop break even, and then obviously I believe there's a whole day of price action missing, no? Yeah, so the market builds that liquidity. You can also say this right here. You got your liquidity block right here. Market moves lower, comes here, and then takes this out, which was on Friday. Let's see. Yeah, so this was Wednesday. You got Friday because Thursday, obviously, it was closed because my boy Jimmy Carter passed away. And then you got liquidity grabbed right here. And then move lower, right? Honestly, this isn't something I'll be entering. Number one, with structure, don't really like it. Number two, it's on a Friday. NFP's gonna be around. So yeah. Anyways, that's what happened. And then what you see on the 1 minute over here was takes this high out, induces buyers, and then you got this right here, trap, and then finally comes here and engineers liquidity, and then that could have been a cheeky entry straight to the lows over here, pretty much. So I'd say that's the only entry for Friday. Obviously, you got NFP and stuff. But yeah, so that's it for Nas. That was a weekly price action. I took the entry over here, targeted lows, held the entire week. It was NFP week, so I wasn't really trying to enter anything. But I caught this on Monday. I said I'll hold it all the way until the end of the week. And then look how it ended up hitting TP on Friday today. But yeah, that's it for Nas. Don't know about gold. I haven't really looked at it. I know there was something nice on Monday. Okay, so gold. On the 4 hour. Okay, you got these lows taken out. And then you got this as a liquidity point. Market moved lower, respected the low, ended up moving higher. And then you can see how it's inching higher each time. So that would be the next liquidity point. Anyways, Monday. Where is Monday? Okay, yeah, so that short was Monday. All right, so on the hourly time frame, as soon as this liquidity got taken out, no, this was Thursday of last week. Okay. So as soon as this liquidity got taken out, the market moved lower. Okay. Came into this whole area right here. You got your BOS to the upside. Okay. So liquidity is below here. Boom. You got liquidity right there. And then you got let's see. Yeah, so this is decent. You got your liquidity block above right here. So the market comes here, engineers liquidity to the downside, moves higher, BOS to the upside, traps sellers, induces buyers. You got your liquidity block from the left right here. So you could have entered something like this. Stops above. Maybe right here. And targeting the lows right here. That'd be like a quick 1 to 5. 1 to 5.8. Yeah, pretty much. I think there was a entry right after. Let's see, on the 1 minute time frame. Where is it? Okay. So on the 1 minute, you got this happening right here. You can see that the market from this high moved lower. Okay. Printing this low right here. And then you got this pullback right here. I believe takes out the low, pulls back again, takes out the low, right? So it just induces sellers. You got the trap of sellers right here and here. Okay. Sellers get trapped. You can also see how it reacted from here. And then you can see it comes into here, moves lower. And then yeah, pretty much. I believe this would have been a decent entry. Then right here. So yeah, this would be confirmations, to be honest. Right here, stops above. And then straight to the low. Gives you a nice 1 to 12 if you took this one. And yeah, pretty much that's for gold on Monday. After that, you can see, let's see. You can see the market started moving to the upside. Unfortunately, I don't really like any entries here. I do see this right here. High, low, but then if you were to enter here, it's like, where would you put your stop, right? I don't see any clear liquidity block here. I don't like this. But yeah, pretty much. So if you were to enter here, there's nowhere to put your stop unless you put it all the way down here. But then your stop loss would be too big. So yeah, after that, you can see that the market printed this high, printed this low, BOS the upside, respected this low right here. So I don't like, no entry there. And then takes out the highs, right? Comes up to here. Takes out inducement high over here. And then sells off. After selling off from here, I believe this was Tuesday. Yeah. Let's see. See the 1 minute real quick. All right, Tuesday on the 1 minute time frame. You can see all this liquidity to the downside. Okay. You can also see there's a liquidity block right here. So honestly, you could have just targeted the low over here if you were trying to short. I don't like these type of shorts because it's an engineered liquidity short. But yeah, it's not necessarily wrong. It's just lower probability. But yeah, pretty much. The short happens here, and then the market starts moving to the upside. Now, after that, I'm not gonna lie, I don't really like the price action on gold at all because you got all this, right? This low it gets printed. Market moves higher. Let's go on the 15 actually. Yeah, so the market moves higher, respects this low right here. I know it took this out, and that's why I had this move from here. But honestly, I would have loved it if it went below here. So nothing I would enter personally. But yeah, so market moves to the upside and then takes out the highs. Now remember, after taking out these highs, right, you have to understand NFP weak. So the market can easily just keep building liquidity. Also the next point of liquidity, if you look at it on the daily time frame, after taking out this high right here, the next point of liquidity is up here, right? So shorting below that, before that's taken out isn't something I would like to do. But yeah, regardless, long entries, I don't like anything. You can argue it's too late in the day. But yeah, so market moves to the upside the entire time. And each time it just grabs liquidity, taps into a liquidity block, and then just moves higher. There's liquidity below, right? You can see all this liquidity right here, so I don't really like at all. But yeah, pretty much, I'd say that's it for gold. Anyone have any questions? All good so far. Okay. Perfect. Let's see. Gold, Nas. What else do you guys want me to look at? DJ. Okay. Look at DJ. On Monday right here. One second. All right, so for GJ, let's go to the 4-hour time frame real quick. All right, so GJ takes out the high, takes out the low, inducing sellers. Market comes all the way up to this high, takes out inducement high right here. Moves lower, and then finally, let's see. Let's get taken out. I can't really tell. Yeah, I got taken out. Okay, so market comes all the way to this high. You do got liquidity below, and then you can see that sell-off happens, takes out this low right here. Okay. And then you can say respect to this area right here. Moved higher. Now, on Monday, I believe there was a long on GJ. Yeah. So, what you see is that the market comes here, moves to the upside, takes out these highs. Okay. After taking out this high or these highs, you can see a sharp move down, taking out the lows. Okay. And then induces sellers. Like how after this low gets taken out, Market moves to the upside. And then I think, yeah, so you got this right here. All right, so yeah, pretty much. The move down here, right here, induces sellers. You can see how it's very, very volatile going down, right? So induces a ton of sellers. And then you can see how the market comes here, respects this high right here. Okay. And then takes out the low right here. Below there, you got your liquidity block. And then finally goes straight here towards these highs. To be honest, I don't know what I would be targeting if I was to enter here. I'll take partials here. Obviously, it's structural high. But in terms of the left, maybe you could target up here. And then you could target the rest up here. Obviously, it doesn't do that, it goes lower. But this would be next target point right here. And then you got that on Monday. Tuesday. That's the thing. Since there's a lot of liquidity to the upside, I would not be trying to sell here because you got all this liquidity here. But it still makes sense because this would be the liquidity block since this high got taken out. And then you just got your trap of sellers right here. So entries for shorts do make sense to a certain extent. But yeah, pretty much. I believe this happened on Tuesday during Asia. Yeah, and then London. Let's see if there's any entries. Market moves to the downside, respects the low, builds that liquidity, moves higher, traps, comes for inducement high. Okay. And I believe that happened around London. Yeah, so this was during London. Comes for inducement high. You got your liquidity block above. Finally moves to the downside. And then you got this. Boom. And then trap. Entry. Stop loss. So let's say you enter right here. Stop loss above here. Could have taken that one. At least bare minimum to here. Because that's where you got the liquidity. And then, yeah, pretty much. Obviously, it ends up going lower. It's just something I wouldn't be anticipating because you got a lot of liquidity at the highs. Right? If you go on the 4-hour, you can see this whole move happen right here. Induced sellers came into this area. Induced sellers again. So me anticipating that GJ was going to come for this low isn't something that probable. So pretty much I'd say that's yeah, like this is the only thing I could see. Entering here and then getting out right here. But yeah, that's for GJ. I believe that happened in New York session. And then you got That was on Tuesday. Wednesday, not really looking that nice to be honest. Um, Asia high right here. Who's this? T. Whatever. Okay. Market comes into this area, takes this out, moves lower, pulls back, moves lower. Uh, yeah, I don't really like this. I don't see any proper entries. You got all this liquidity as well. So for that reason, um, yeah, I probably would have waited for something like this. But this high to get taken out. Obviously, New York just ranges the entire time. You got this huge sell off. The rest of New York was just rangy. And then finally, Asia opens up, just moves lower, and then continuously just moves lower. So I don't really see any proper entries for GJ except for this long and possibly this short. But this would be like um in my opinion, I would just take this like in and out type thing. Because I just couldn't honestly I wouldn't anticipate it going lower because all the liquidity to the upside. Yeah, anyone else have any questions? Everyone's good. All right, so covered Nas, gold, GJ. So does anyone want me to look at any other pairs? If not, I'll talk about the long on UJ. I believe there's a long on UJ on Monday. I think I took that. Wait 1 second. Let me see. No, it wasn't Monday. It was Tuesday. But yeah, so let's see. Just mark this out right here. Yeah, I'll take a look at you. All right, so if you go to the 4-hour time frame, you can see that this happened. The market started moving to the upside. Came into this whole area. Okay, respected this. Okay, reactions here. And then you can see that market moves lower, takes this out, moves higher, takes out the high. Now, because it took out this high right here, this wouldn't be an entry. Okay, that wouldn't be an entry because it took out the high right here. But yeah, so the market comes to this low, moves to the upside. Okay, you can see Princess high, then this low. View as the upside. Comes here, respects it. Okay, so builds that liquidity below here. Was higher. Um, but yeah. So you got this high right here, get taken out. Now, I believe on the hourly time frame. Yes. So takes out this high right here. remember it's respecting this whole area right here. So after taking out this high, comes lower, traps all the buyers. You can see that happens on Monday. But yeah, I wouldn't be shorting this though. It is a liquidity block over here, but I just wouldn't be shorting because it's just building liquidity at the highs, right? So just anticipating that these highs are going to be held this long isn't something I would like to do. So yeah, anyways, the market takes out the low. This happens on Monday and then moves higher. You got Tuesday opening up. Has a sharp move down. Takes out the lows right here. Yeah, let me just admit. Okay. Takes out the low right there. And then you can see this right here. Let's actually mark it out. Oh. All right, so on the 5-minute time frame, you got this right here. Market took out the lows, okay? Inducing sellers. So you can see sellers being induced. Boom. There's liquidity there. Sellers are gonna try entering right here as well. So yeah, pretty much. Anyways, so what I did was I seen that the market came into this high right here, didn't take out this high, respected it, came lower. Okay. You can see it coming lower. Takes out the low right here, inducing sellers. And then you can see that the high got respected. Okay, so the high got respected right here. And then comes, and all I did was basically wait for this, right? So as soon as this low got taken out, you can see the market move to the upside. Check out this high right here, inducing buyers into the market, trapping the early sellers right here. Then you see the sharp move down, inducing sellers. Again, all I did was just mark out the low right here. Got taken out. And then this being your liquidity block. So that would be your entry, stop loss. And then, yeah, I targeted to right here. Obviously, news opened up, moved price all the way up here, coming for Asia high, being that new higher high. But yeah, I wasn't part of that entire move. This entire move right here, I wasn't part of it because I closed right here. Like I had a hard TP right here because I did see it maybe going lower. There's still liquidity below here and these lows. So for that reason, I took it just until here. All good, Nuno. But yeah, that was for UJ on Tuesday. Unfortunately, ever since then, it's just been respecting structure. You can see this right here, respect the structure, moved higher. And then finally, yeah, nothing I like. Because it takes out this high, inducing buyers. Yeah, there's just too many lows, I'll be honest. If you go to higher time frames, mark out some lows. Yeah, same thing. I wouldn't be looking for any buys here, honestly. Even though there's liquidity above here, is just I would need some sort of low to go, like something like this, to go for me to actually look for any longs towards these highs. But yeah, that's it for UJ, I believe. Friday, obviously, NFP. You got the move all the way up here. Let's see. Yeah, so NFP moved the markets all the way to the highs, taking out the highs to the left that's been building liquidity at, and then finally has the sell off, taking out the lows right here. But yeah, that's about it. Now, unfortunately, I don't really know where price is probably getting headed for UJ. You got all this liquidity getting taken out. There's still this high that's intact. Right here, and there's obviously these lows that are intact. So maybe it comes for this low first. But yeah, I do see liquidity on both sides at the moment. Anyone have any questions? No questions, no questions. Okay. I'll go to Euro. Okay, so on Euro. Damn. Okay, you got this getting taken out. Comes into this area right here, has to move up. Takes out the highs. Moves lower. This is insane. See the hourly. All right, so nothing I like too much, to be honest. You got this low getting taken out. Engineers that liquidity to the downside, respects that low that I marked out. Moves to the upside. It does take out these highs, so it is kind of a structure. So, I mean, because it took out this low, it's kind of a structure in a way. So yeah, I don't really see anything here. I believe this was Monday. Let's look at the 15, maybe something. All right, so there's a bunch of liquidity right here. Moves to the upside, takes this out. Comes engineers liquidity to the downside. I'll be honest. I don't like shorts here. Like I would have wanted something like this. Maybe it comes here, takes out the low, induces some sort of sellers, traps the sellers, comes for that from the left, and then sells off. That I wouldn't mind. But yeah, so all it do is just build liquidity to the downside. Came here, took out inducement high, and then went lower. It's not necessarily wrong, I just don't like it. But yeah, market moves to the downside. This is on Tuesday. This is super late in the day though. Let's go to 5. All right, so you got the low right here, pulls back, US to the downside, induces sellers. Look how it comes here, respects it right there, takes out something here, moves higher, traps the sellers. Okay. Boom right there. Sellers trapped. Then comes for the high. Yeah, so that traps sellers. Um I don't like it. You got the low taken out. Honestly, for respect to this lower here, maybe then I would have liked it, but yeah, pretty much. Because all it does is just take out the low, respects the high. Liquidity wise, it makes sense why I shorted from there, right? There's nowhere else to go but down because it's just grabbing liquidity each time and just going lower. And so you got liquidity taken out here. Market moves lower, takes it out, moves lower. So liquidity wise, it makes a lot of sense why I shorted here. I just don't like taking these entries with structure. But yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I would have really liked it if it was able to stay above here. Because you got the trap happen here, right? So if it was able to stay above here and then took this out, then I wouldn't mind that as an entry. Stop loss above, straight to the lows. But even then, I don't think the RR makes sense. Uh let's see, after that, Asia respects this high right here, moves lower. All right, so there's a ton of liquidity to the downside. This is a liquidity block, so you can see some reactions from here. As you can see, it comes all the way to here. And then starts moving to the upside. You got this right here. Moves to the upside. I'm not gonna lie, I don't like these entries. This one either. Because it's all the way at this low. You still got a ton of liquidity to the downside. I wouldn't be taking any counter bias moves. Just wait for shorts if I was looking at Euro. Market takes this out. And then you got Asia doing this. Takes out the low, takes out the high. Fortunately, that had to be during Asia. Okay, comes to the low right here. Respects this low, engineering liquidity to the downside. And then you got the trap right here. Low gets taken out. Takes out the high. This was during London, so honestly, I wouldn't mind this one. This entry right here. And the reason for it is because of this, right? You got your engineered liquidity to the downside right there. And then you got this right here. Princess low. Pulls back, takes out the low, induces sellers. Okay. Sellers get trapped above here. So yeah, I wouldn't mind this entry. Could have entered any way possible, to be honest. And from this imbalance right here, you could have just entered there, or you could have just entered right here. But yeah, say right above there, you got your liquidity block above, right? So right there, boom. Liquidity block, entry straight to the low. Yeah, this isn't bad. Still gives you a nice 1 to 5. Uh, but yeah, unfortunately, yeah, this is insane. This happens on Thursday. Market moves lower. Honestly, I'll be break even by then. So if you don't get stopped out because of spreads, then I guess you're lucky. But yeah, I don't mind this entry right here. But honestly, I wouldn't be holding a trade that's so close to my entry during NFP. Because slippage you can't control. You know what I'm saying? Like, um, you can't control your risk when it comes to trading news. So for that reason, I would be yeah, I wouldn't be in this. But it's nice to see, right? You got your liquidity comes for all these lows. Let's see, 15. Yeah, that's about it for Euro, to be honest. Damn, that's insane. Barely any entries. Jamal Barak, everyone see you on Monday. Yes, inshallah. But yeah, anyone have any questions? All good, okay. Anyone else? Because if no one else has any questions, I'm just gonna wrap it up here. I do have to run to Friday prayer and then I have to go traveling. So yeah, pretty much. I guess we're out. Just wrap it up right here. Hope you guys learned something, and then obviously I believe UJ, the entry I took on UJ is quite, I'd say, like you'd see it if you're paying attention a lot. So definitely go back on it. This entry right here, and then take a look at it. But yeah, pretty much. Other than that, most of the pairs, it's NFP week. You can't really expect much. Hopefully next week the market is normal. But yeah, pretty much I'll just wrap it up here. I hope you guys have a good weekend, and I'll see you guys on the charts on Monday.